ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
Welcome into another edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can join the program anytime by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. Only 96 calories it is. The original light beer. Coming up today on the program, we're going to hear from my good friend, David Kahn from the West Virginia Power. We're going to talk to him. That's coming up later on this hour. And, of course, as we mentioned, we'll get your phone calls in. You can also find us on social media on Twitter at Paul Swann. You can also find us on Facebook, The Drive with Paul Swann. So we got a lot to get into today. And, of course, we're going to do some of that with David Kahn. They actually opened up the ballpark today. Now, of course, there's no baseball going on at the ballpark, but they're trying to do some things and get people back to the ballpark. And, of course, if you are familiar with Appalachian Power Park, it's a multi-purpose facility. They do more than just have ball games there. And hopefully, if Marshall can get the ball rolling, get the ballpark going for them, you'll find out that the baseball park could really serve as a focal point for the community, get some things done there as well. So we're going to talk to him later on the program. Looking forward to it. All right, we're trying to get everything situated right here now, and it's Friday. We're going to have sort of a more of a relaxed show than we usually do on this Friday edition. I really don't know where we can start today because there are lots of things I want to get into. We could talk about, of course, how things are starting to backslide a little bit. I saw the report earlier that we had one test positive for COVID-19 in Little League in the area, and hopefully that doesn't turn into 2 or 4 or 8. And, of course, you know that Myrtle Beach has become a hot spot, and people who have gone to the beach thinking it was safe to go and vacation there or make a quick stop, probably not practicing good social distancing or wearing a mask. That seems to be a problem for a lot of people. And guess what? We're seeing cases spike back up, and we're seeing that as well, not just with normal everyday folks. We're seeing that with teams. We're seeing players who are getting together in training camp, maybe not doing such a good job when it came to staying away from people or social distancing or practicing whatever measures they need to practice to keep themselves healthy. And, of course, I know isolating and staying away from people is very difficult, but also wearing a mask probably could help mitigate some of that. Again, the mask choice is yours. I think it's probably the best choice for you. And honestly, here's my take on this. If we could just do this for a little while and really knock down the spread of this, we could get back to having sports. We don't have to worry about sporting events being canceled or the resumption of leagues slowing down to the point where maybe we're not going to get that. Of course, baseball's not happening. I just write it down right now. I'll be wrong happily, but baseball is not happening right now. There's no baseball. They can't figure out what they want to do. Players and, of course, the owners. It's a difficult situation. You have millionaires trying to get as much money as they can possibly can get, and you've got billionaires trying to make as much money as they possibly can make, and you can't seem to come together in the middle. Again, that's the argument. You have billionaires arguing with millionaires, and you can't seem to get it done. We're not talking about safety issues. We're not talking about health and well-being. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking where can we come together on the money issue. And so that's where we're standing with baseball right now. I don't even know if they're going to go about trying to get another round of proposals sent to each other. So that's where we stand right now with baseball. Hockey, of course, shutting down a couple of training camps because of outbreaks of COVID-19. We haven't seen really that too much happen yet across the board, but there have been some isolated cases of it. And, of course, with today being June 19th and more people realizing that June 19th is a day that is celebrated to commemorate the final word getting out. It's a holiday to commemorate slavery officially ending, even though it had ended sooner. With June 19th being celebrated today, more people were learning about it. The word finally got to the final holdouts or the final places. And so for a long time after the Civil War was over, the freedom that a lot of slaves finally had, the word didn't get out. And for some of you, you probably have never heard of this holiday. For others, you probably have. And I'm not going to break down the historical importance of the day. I am not an expert on that compared to some, so I think you can do yourself a service by going elsewhere for that historical context. I'm not the guy that's going to give you the best context on that, to be honest with you. But we are seeing more and more that sporting leagues, that companies are making note of the day, paying attention to it, and to be honest, it's not a bad move by any stretch of the imagination, because with a lot of sporting leagues on the professional level and in college, you are benefiting from, and college, even though these student athletes are getting an education, they're getting an education, but you see what they have to do to get that education. I mean, you're profiting off of these student athletes. And so more and more you're seeing universities get on board with the holiday. You are seeing more entities understanding what the holiday means. And we're also seeing more and more leagues are reviewing what they can do. The NCAA, for example, the NCAA, they are basically saying, look, we've had this policy in place about the Confederate flag. We're now going to expand it further. The NCAA Board of Governors expanded the association's Confederate flag policy to prevent any NCAA championship event from being played in states where the symbol has a prominent presence. So we're looking at you, Mississippi. The policy previously barred the awarding of sites determined in advance of a championship in states that displayed the Confederate flag. However, if a college or university team earned the right to host a championship game based on its tournament seeding or ranking, considered a non-predetermined award, the team could host on its college campus or in its home territory. Mississippi is the only state that's going to be impacted by this. It's the only state that currently has the most prominent display of the Confederate flag. And so you're seeing more and more the schools in Mississippi are issuing statements. They are hoping that this can be changed. There's going to be some pressure, I'm sure, from the SEC, because you're not going to see tournament events. And tournaments are a big deal. If a community can land a tournament, that's a big deal. So you're seeing more and more of that. And of course, we're going to talk more about that as the weeks progress, as we follow the story. But I want to turn my attention when we come back from break to what's happening with West Virginia Power. David Kahn, my guest. Looking forward to talking to him when we continue with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. But we must turn our attention now to the greatest podcast ever, the best show on the internet. It is the ultimate highlight of this show whenever we do this. That's right. It's time once again. And due to budget constrictions, my voice guy's out. Had a triple bypass. I couldn't get the open cut in time. David Kahn joins me. Swann and Kahn back on the air. We haven't done this in like months. I was wondering, like, what's been missing from my daily, weekly life here, and I just figured it out. It's because Swann and Kahn hasn't been on the air for months.
What an intro. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that we haven't done in months, like play baseball, for one. And, yeah, I've certainly been missing our weekly informative chats, of course, because we always have great insight to bring to the listeners and are not just badgering each other. But no, I'm glad to be back on with you, Paul, and talk about something baseball related.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And of course, hey, we timed this perfectly because you're at the ballpark right now.
That is accurate. I am sitting on the Bud Light party deck at this very moment.
Party deck. What are you doing on the party deck?
Well, I'm just sitting on the party deck because it's away from where everyone else is, so I don't annoy them with this interview. But no, we are at the ballpark today, and we've been here all day for a picnic at the park and merchandise store being open. So from 11 to 2 o'clock today, we had the ballpark open, and we invited fans to come and bring their own lunch and just enjoy their lunch at the ballpark. And we've been open since 4, and we're open until 6 o'clock tonight for fans to come and if they want to bring an early dinner, they're more than welcome to do so. And there's plenty of open seating at the ballpark tonight. We're still asking fans to social distance. But there's plenty of open seats here for fans to sit down and enjoy the nice breeze, a beautiful view. And we've got our 2020 merchandise on sale for the first time this season. And it's been going pretty well. We've sold quite a bit of merchandise, and fans are really enjoying it.
I was going to ask you, how are you handling the requirements or at least the guidelines to try to keep everyone safe? And I know that's still a question in the coming months. How are we going to have sports with these guidelines? This is sort of a practice run almost for you guys, just a little bit.
Essentially, yeah, and we have definitely implemented social distancing guidelines. We have all the tables and picnic tables spread out more than 6 feet apart so that you can be safe at the ballpark and be socially distant. We've asked fans, if they're sitting in the seating bowl, to sit 2 seats away from one another at minimum. We are all wearing masks as well. We have hand sanitizer and gloves available. If we're assisting customers directly, we make sure to use hand sanitizer and wash our hands, use gloves repeatedly while we're handling customers and dealing with credit cards and stuff like that. We have one entry, one exit point, so it's a very clean, easy flow. No conflicting areas for people to run into each other if someone's trying to come in while someone's trying to leave. And that's why we also suggested bringing your own food into the ballpark. Normally, we don't allow that, but in this case, we felt it better because then we are not handling the food that we're giving to you. You are bringing it in yourself, and you've handled it just you.
Plus, this includes Power branded face coverings, right? You got that.
So we don't have Power branded face coverings. That was actually something I know. It was in the works. We don't have them available right now. The company that was supposed to make them actually ended up not producing them. So, coronavirus obviously has affected a lot of things, and it ended up affecting the company that we were going to get Power face coverings from. So that was unfortunate. But maybe in the future, hopefully we won't need them in the future because we'll be able to return to more of a normal state. But as we know, so many things are still up in the air right now in terms of baseball and sports in general. Yeah,
that's the big question. Will baseball ever figure it out again? And, of course, we need baseball to figure it out so we can have baseball at all levels, not just the major league level, but the minor league level as well.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of fans need to understand is that, we would love to open our ballpark and play a season right now. We feel comfortable in our socially distant guidelines that we've set up, and we would love to do that. We can't. It trickles down from Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball has to figure out their agreement first, and then Minor League Baseball can get to work on theirs. So it's a bit of trickle-down economics when you think about it. And that's kind of where we're stuck right now is we're waiting on Major League Baseball to figure out their agreement with the Major League Baseball Players Association. And once they do that, then we can make a determination on if there will be a minor league season. If so, how much of a minor league season will we have, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a huge cat and mouse game, and we are on the receiving end of it right now, just kind of sitting here waiting for more information. And then, of course, we still got to abide by the local and national health regulations with the coronavirus, kind of making a second coming at this point.
How tough has it been? Appalachian Power Park, not just a place where I can go watch a baseball game. It's a multi-use facility. You host different events. You have conference rooms. gatherings, birthday parties, everything you can imagine you could possibly do at the ballpark. How tough has it been on West Virginia Power baseball and the facility itself, or at least everything that goes along with it?
Yeah, it's been really tough because we haven't been back in the office until last Monday. So from a standpoint of we literally haven't opened the stadium in almost 3 months, which is rare for us. Right now we'd be 3 days away from the All-Star break this year. And a year ago yesterday, we had the All-Star games here. So that kind of really set in stone the magnitude of what's been happening over the last couple of months. It's been very difficult on our staff because while we're working from home and now working back in the office, the most important thing we want to do, or the most thing we want to do, is have baseball played here, but we want to do it safely. And so that's been, the big driving force behind everything that we've chosen to do and to not do, is the safety of the community of Charleston and for our own safety as well.
Joining us on the program, David Kahn from the West Virginia Power, part of Swann and Kahn. One thing that the Power has not shied away from is you have been community active no matter baseball or not. You've had several things that are happening and coming up with the West Virginia Power, if you want to outline some of them, because you haven't just been sitting at home playing Xbox. I know that.
No, absolutely not. I don't even own an Xbox, so I've been playing the Nintendo Switch. But
okay, I got you. That's fine. A little Animal Crossing. I get you. I understand.
No. Actually, a lot of Mario Kart, and I beat the new Pokemon game. So that was my 2 games that I played during this quarantine.
Okay, I got you.
But anyways, Power community, the more important stuff. So we started off, one of the first things we did during this pandemic was we hosted a restaurant takeout week, where we reached out to restaurants that were still open during the early stages of COVID-19 and said, hey, what are you open for? What are you advertising? What do you want people to know about your hours? What limited menu do you have? We'll promote it for you. So we promoted a new restaurant every day for lunch and dinner. And we said, hey, if you want takeout, we're not saying you have to go out and get it, but if you want takeout tonight, here's a place that's open. So it was a great way to promote the essential employees that were still out there doing work to provide for this community. And it was a great way to promote those organizations that were doing that as well. We also worked with our partners at the United Way for a food drive that was really successful. Our staff had a huge contribution to that. And then we've been doing a lot of merchandise initiatives as well. A lot for Pride Month right now in the month of June, we've actually been donating 20% of the proceeds from every purchase of our Pride merchandise to Rainbow Pride of West Virginia, who's been a great partner with us for our Pride merch for at least the last couple of years and hopefully for many more. So we've been so excited to partner with them, especially during a time when we know it's especially hard on smaller organizations. So we're glad that we were able to work with them. And they're such a great driving force for the Pride community. And so we're really blessed to have a great partner with them to do something like this. And now we're starting to open up the ballpark for smaller events. Like today, we had the picnic at the park. We're planning a variety of different events in the future, hoping to bring some kind of baseball. If it's professional baseball, great. If not, we're looking at other opportunities. We're trying, anything under the sun, happy hours, movie nights. We're considering it all. And hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a more defined schedule that we can send out to everyone and say, hey, here's what's going on here for the next couple of months. Even if we don't have a baseball season this year, which hopefully we do, but even if we don't, we're still going to be open and we're still going to provide for the community and give them a place to gather and enjoy themselves and take their mind off of some of the more dark issues that are going through our society right now.
David Kahn joins me from the West Virginia Power. I want you to put like a temporary roof over the ballpark. We could do some outdoor skating. We could have power hockey. What do you think?
Yeah. I've proposed putting a bubble over any ballpark for a long time because that way we never have a rainout. But, that's just me. There's not really any major or minor league ballparks that have a roof. That would be great if they did, but that costs a lot of money. But yeah, I've always been a proponent of putting a bubble over the stadium. That way you can leave it at the perfect temperature. You can still have wind, but there won't be any rain that comes into the ballpark and possibly forces a rainout. You can play at any game, any weather, just like you do in Tampa Bay. They never have a rainout. That's really where I'm going with that. You're a bigger hockey fan than I am, but I would never say no to playing hockey here if it was easy to install an ice rink. I would need some professional architects to come in and tell me how to do that, but I'm open to anything at this point because I really just miss sports and would love to have them back.
Yeah, I miss sports as well. Thankfully, we've had such exciting things like soccer.
Marble racing.
Marble racing. I am totally down with marble racing.
I mean, it's exciting. It's like the Kentucky Derby, but in a minimalist approach is how I've seen it.
Marble racing, if you watch it, was it Jelly? It's Jelly's marble racing, right? The big one. The one that John Oliver from HBO was sponsoring the entire season of.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy how fun and competitive it is. I mean, they take this seriously. The result.
Why would you not?
It's professional. I'm sure they have judges there, officials, making sure there's no, there's nothing going on behind the scenes here.
Look, you could. It's like when you used to have the spitball. You could wipe down the marble real quick and make it be a little slicker. I think that's cheating. So you got to make sure that there's no marbles that have been enlarged a little bit to get a better roll off the start. I mean, there's a lot of little things you can do to mess with marbles. So there better be judges. I want all those marbles checked every time. They got to be the exact same size, exact same consistency, and the exact same dryness. I want to see it. I want to see the result.
But what if one marble's been working out better than the other one, have better training regimen?
I mean, if it's natural, then it's fine. But if it's you gotta test them too. I mean, you gotta see those workout results. You gotta see the picture of the gym. I want to see all the reps that the marble's been doing. Like, I want proof that this is all natural because I don't know how a marble would work out really. I guess you could do like rolls back and forth where it just goes from one end of the wall to the other and you just kind of tip it back and forth. But I'm not really sure what other extent a marble could actually work out.
But if anyone's going to find out, it's going to be David Kahn from the West Virginia Power.
I'm already thinking of ways that this could work, and next time we talk, I'm going to have a full report for you on how a marble can work out. So,
okay.
Yes, that's 100% true.
I'm down with that because I know you. One, you don't have play-by-play, and so you're a play-by-play guy. You're going stir-crazy. I know that about you.
Yes, I've gone insane 6 or 7 times already during this quarantine. It's been rough. I do miss what I do for a living. I'm still trying to broadcast in some capacity as much as possible by either doing these interviews or doing podcasts or whatever. But yeah, I really have not called a game since March 9th, and that is unfortunate. It really is. It really, I'm trying to smile through it right now and laugh about it, but it is very, very weird to have not called 70 baseball games right now.
And the other problem that you're going through is you don't have Survivor Fantasy to play.
Yeah, Survivor ended in May, and it was a great season. I did not win my fantasy league, but I didn't lose. I got second place.
Okay. Wait a minute. If Ricky Bobby said once, if you ain't first, you're last, right? I think that's how it went.
This isn't Talladega Nights. This is not Talladega Nights. It's Survivor, and it's real. Just kidding. NASCAR is real.
Be careful now. Be careful.
I know. I'm not a NASCAR fan, but I know a lot of people are. NASCAR is very much a sport. Not having Survivor is unfortunate for me personally. I mean, there's a ton of podcasts I can listen to still, but hopefully Survivor 41 is back on in the fall. I'm hearing that Fiji is coronavirus clear. So if that's the case, then they can possibly go out and film. And they might have to do a 2-week quarantine beforehand, but as long as everyone passes, I think they can go film. They're saying maybe in late July, early August, they're going to film and then do a late fall season.
So how do you finish second and not lose? Explain that to me.
Well, we only have 3 people in the league, so it's first, second, and third.
Wow, that's 3, huh? Just 3?
Yeah, but it's me and two of my other best friends that are very into Survivor. So
3.
We've looked into adding more, but you have to have a certain level of fandom to do this. It's an exclusive league. Like, if you can't just be a casual Survivor fan, you have to care more than most. So that's why there's only 3 people. We've looked at adding a few more. Some people have asked to join, and we've taken their applications under consideration. But there's a long review process that goes into it.
I understand. As a commissioner of my own fantasy league, the Kindred
Right.
Hockey
I know
League.
you won your hockey league, so like you're happy, and that's great. Good for you.
I was just going to point out I empathize with you as a commissioner of a league. I wasn't going to make my victory lap.
I'm actually not the commissioner. My friend Justin is the commissioner.
Oh, okay. So there's someone who's
in
into it more than you. I got it.
No. I'm in charge of the scoring settings, but my friend Justin is in charge of allowing people into the league. It's the division of labor.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, I'm better at Excel than he is, so I add up all the points. Basically, I just call myself a giant nerd, which is normal for me, so that's fine.
It's okay. We love you for it, so don't worry about it. It's
That's right.
Yeah, and yes, I did win my fantasy hockey league, by the way.
I know. Congratulations. I hope you got a fantastic trophy.
Well, I'm working on that because I'll be the one paying for it if I do get it. So.
Oh well, then just buy yourself some candy or something, and that'll work.
Okay, I'll work on that. That'll be
right.
fantastic. Joining us on the program from the West Virginia Power. Soon to be featured every week because, well, I have a feeling I'm going to have to get him on just to keep his sanity. David Kahn joins us.
Need me.
Hey, look, you know how hard it is to do a sports talk show on a daily basis when there's no sports in the world?
Yes. I mean, no, I don't, but I can empathize with you that it is very tough. I have a lot of friends that are, like you, sports talk show hosts, and they have a terrible time trying to get content together, and I feel for them. And it also is just aggravating when the only content you have to talk about is the fact that Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball PA cannot get their stuff together.
Right. So we might go to weekly marble updates with you.
That's fine, but we can talk whatever. I mean, we've literally reached the point of no holds barred and no boundaries at this point in season 3 of Swann and Kahn. So you ask me whatever you allow it to come into your brain, and I will provide a equally witty yet weird answer.
Fair enough. He's David Kahn from the West Virginia Power. This will resume as again. It's what day is this now of our long national nightmare?
Oh, who knows? I've stopped counting. We're like over 120 or something.
Something like that.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's been what 3 months?
Yeah.
As of 3 days ago, so that's 90 days, I guess.
I love the people who are still with us. Those people are rock stars. I love those people.
Anyone who's still listening right now, come to the ballpark instead of listening to the rest of this interview. We're open for 30 more minutes and come get some merch. That's all I have to say.
There you go. David Kahn, West Virginia Power. My friend, one of the best friendships I've ever formed based off this show. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I miss you too.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
That is it. That is David Kahn, West Virginia Power. I've got more on the way, believe it or not. I do. I have more on the way when we continue on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Buckle up. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We are presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We have an unannounced guest today. This is a guest that has not been promoted or advertised. And I want to welcome to the program by saying happy birthday, Luke Creasy. How are you, sir? You doing okay?
Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the Herald Dispatch is selling their building and to pay for the birthday cake here. Is that the deal?
I think that was in I think that was in the release somewhere.
So how's it feel? You're what, 26 now?
Yep, that's it, 26.
How's it feel? I mean, you're getting close to 30 now. How's that working?
Well, I get to start paying for my own health insurance, so that's fun.
That makes you an adult. You pay for your own health insurance.
Yep.
Yeah, you're paying for a
Yep.
house yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Probably will be soon.
Okay,
but,
so that'll also qualify you as an adult.
Yep. I'm gonna buy the Herald Dispatch building and just live in it.
So-
No, because I love living and working without air conditioning. So
I was thinking about buying it, maybe making it like into a penny arcade.
hey, there you go. That'd be all right.
Yeah, I was.
We're not on the air, are we?
Yeah, we're on the air. This is on the air.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, so no, I'm seriously. I'm thinking about buying it and turning it into like my retirement plan.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, that building's historic.
It could work.
Yeah, I could make something out of that.
Hey, it's in a good location. It is in a good location.
Oh, it's a great location. It's a fantastic location. If someone want to buy that and then turn it into something else, that would be fantastic. It's a fantastic location. My question to you is, where are you moving to? Can you reveal that?
I don't. We don't. We haven't been told yet.
Okay.
But the plan for management is told to us that we're still trying to stay in Huntington. So I'm sure, in the coming weeks, something else will be announced. But for now, we're still working out of the building. Some of us are still working from home. So we are still putting out a paper, which is good. It's important.
Birthday boy and former show producer Luke Creasy joins us on the program now, a reporter for the Herald Dispatch. You're like what, number 3, 4 on the sports team list for the Herald. Of course, you're like number 1 in the Wayne County sector.
Well, by default, because I am the only one.
Hey, take the victory. Take the victory.
I'll take it. I'll take the W's where I can get them.
Yeah, take the victory and go with it. But how many people have asked you today that, hey, are also the Herald Dispatch is selling, huh? And not knowing it's just the building.
Well, I've had several. The realtor actually posted something about it earlier this week, and so the word kind of got out that way. But they put a big for sale sign outside of the building this morning, which nobody knew was going up. And, of course, that sparked some questions. And then so we were kind of told from that point what was going on, officially what was going on. But, it makes sense. There used to be hundreds of employees in that building when you had a printing press running out of it, had a full mail room. Now there are, I think, 5 or 6 floors in that building, and we're only using 2 of them, so.
1 floor for everyone else, and then 1 floor for Chuck Landon, right? Was that the layout?
Yeah. I think Chuck might have some negotiating to do if he wants his own floor in the new space, wherever that is.
I mean, I thought that's how it worked out. It's like 1 floor for the newsroom, and then Chuck Landon. It was the top floor, right?
Yeah, on top of the world, on top of everything.
That's my guy. I don't know if you knew that. That's my guy, by the way. I mean, Grant's my guy too, but I just want to point that Chuck gets his own special floor.
What I appreciate a lot about Chuck, but he always has had a good sense of fashion, which, Paul, you of all people know that I appreciate.
Oh, you do.
So,
I know.
Oh yeah. So.
I mean, trust me, one of the best dressed interns ever on this program, bar none.
I mean, how many interns have you had? Am I winning a competition of 2 or?
No, it's a greater competition than 2. I mean, because we have our current intern, Spencer Dupuis. We have had previous interns from the Marshall Athletic Department. We've had Jansen Williams as an intern.
There you go.
We had C.J. Burks one time as an intern briefly. We had John Elmore, and those guys are competing for like $1 million now in the basketball tournament, so they've moved on, done some nice things.
Well, I am not competing for millions of dollars, but
no,
I do appreciate the compliment. You wrote on my Facebook wall the birthday goat. So
you are the birthday goat. You are the goat. You are
the intern goat.
Yeah, you are the standard by which I judge everyone moving forward on this program.
Hey, that means I did something good.
You did something good. No, seriously. All joking aside, one of the best experiences of my life was working with you, and I'm truly blessed for it. So that's why I wanted to at least have you on the program, say happy, because anybody can say happy birthday to you on Facebook. I wanted to do something a little bit more.
But there's only one person who can get me on the drive, and that is the Paul Swann.
That's me.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. I mean, what's the birthday plans? What do you do in a pandemic for your birthday? Because mine's coming up soon, so I don't know what to do here.
Well, I've never had a birthday in a pandemic before, but enjoying some dinner with family this evening, and just kind of hanging around here tomorrow. Not too much. Don't want to risk traveling out of state right now, especially with all the hot spots that have been popping up. Not going to the beach, not going to Dirty Myrtle, anything like that. So pretty low key weekend, but make it out, ride the bike some, get out on the water, the weather permits, and we'll just enjoy an evening around here.
What's the wedding? Changed because of COVID-19? Still on track?
No, wedding plans going on as normal for right now. They're having their own restrictions right now, our venue and things are, but as those restrictions start to lighten up, we should be all right. But I would not advise planning a wedding in a pandemic that crosses state lines. So we're doing the ceremony here in West Virginia, and then our reception is at a venue in Ohio. So having to keep track of two different state regulations and things like that, it's fun. It presents another challenge, and I'm always up for one of those. So
Luke Creasy's with me, of course. You know him from his work in the Herald-Dispatch, of course. You also know him from this program, probably more for his Herald-Dispatch work these days, and Wayne County News and everything else. So how tough has it been for you? I know if you're a guy like Grant Traylor, you relish a challenge to go out and you find a story. If you're a Tim Stevens, you're a Chuck Landon, I know these guys welcome the challenge because they get to flex some of their muscle. How does that work for you? Those guys have been around the block a lot longer than you, obviously. So what's the challenge been for you?
Well, I guess, those guys are full-time sports. And while I would love to be full-time sports at this point, I'm still kind of a sports news hybrid. So therefore, a couple of months at least, I was primarily a primarily a news guy, which was a different hat to wear. Obviously with games being postponed and no high school softball, baseball, anything like that, I was forced on the news side. But last week I got out to Wayne High School, and they opened practice not an official practice. It's a conditioning workout for phase 1 of the WVSSAC's comeback plan. And man, it felt nice to get out and actually do something and talk to people in person. And so, I think we'll slowly start to get back to that. Phase 2 starting up for high school teams this week, or beginning of next week. And sooner or later, I think we'll be back to some sense of normalcy with that. But it's for probably 6 weeks, I didn't leave the house for any assignment. Everything was handled over the phone. And so, when you're not out there looking at things, talking to people, running into people in the community, it does present a set of challenges. But I can't think of a better way to get thrown into the industry in my first couple of years to having to work through a pandemic. So election night in a pandemic is also fun.
Oh, I can imagine that.
Yeah. Well, luckily we got a little more time to prepare since the primary was pushed back. But the amount of work that went into election night coverage in itself was very much a learning experience. And that's the second time I've done it. So completely different than the first time, and I'm sure things will be different moving forward. But we'll get there, and we'll trudge through it. It's nice to have guys like Grant and Tim and Chuck to kind of lean on and figure everything out too. Since they've been around the block, been here for a few years, some more, but it's nice to have them around too.
Luke Creasy joining us from the Herald-Dispatch. So is Tim still cracking dad jokes in the Slack channel?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day.
I just wanna make sure.
That was one of the things that I think kept us sane. Once Tim got on there, it was every morning. It was a dad joke. And he usually keeps it relevant, too, which is impressive. So,
What kind of material does the columnist come up with, or does he save it?
I haven't seen Chuck on the Slack channel.
Okay. Well, he probably not. I mean, he's too busy on his own floor of the Herald-Dispatch. So.
Yeah. So you don't have to socially distance if you're already on your own floor.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, he's just he's got his own. I mean, that's probably gonna. You're right. It's gonna be in the contract. Whatever new building, there's gonna be a nice wing just for Chuck in the building.
So since Tim Stevens has done these dad jokes, I have also picked up a dad-ish sense of humor. And I'll give you one now, Paul.
Okay.
If you're up for it.
I'm
All
game.
Right? So, we're coming up on Father's Day, so I'll make it relevant to Father's Day. My dad worked at a hospital. They played a big game of hide and seek. He found the worst place to hide. Where was it?
I don't know, Luke. Where was it?
It was in the ICU.
Ooh.
Never play a game of hide and seek in the ICU.
Ooh.
Dead giveaway.
Ouch. Tim Stevens, always the dad joke. He should publish his own book of dad jokes.
He did actually come up with a headline for the Herald-Dispatch yesterday when the West Virginia State Fair was canceled. He simply said, "No fair!" Exclamation point. Nobody likes when things are canceled. It's not fair that we're having to go through a pandemic.
Luke Creasy on this Friday edition, on his birthday, no less.
Yep.
Have a fantastic birthday. We'll get you back on when there's some new content coming from Wayne County or the sports world in general. And, of course, for everyone who listens to this program, Luke still behind the scenes sometimes produces this show for free for some reason, too. That's the thing.
I like the company. I like hanging around.
Well, you can come in anytime. You know what? I know you. Yeah, I mean, you brought me hand sanitizer one time too, so you can come in anytime you want.
I did.
Yeah, you did. I still have it. I appreciate it.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'm glad you haven't run out yet.
No, I'm in good shape. Trust me. At the time, it was I didn't have anything. Luke took care of me. If like I said, you have a large shadow that is trying to be overcome every day by those who are following in your footsteps. So I'm just telling you, there's a bar set and it has Luke Creasy's name on it.
Hey, some people are capable of living up to it.
We're gonna find out. We will. I have an evaluation coming up here in a few weeks. We're gonna find out.
Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, I will. You know what? I might conference you in.
Sounds good.
Luke Creasy, my guest. Thanks, sir. Talk to you soon. Happy birthday.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, Paul.
Never miss a moment of The Drive with Paul Swann. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're wrapping up today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. It's our Friday edition. We take things a little less serious. We try to bring a little bit more brevity and a little bit more happiness into the world today with you. Thanks for tuning in. Some other things that have been happening. Conference USA, they issued a statement. The league is pledging to conduct a process to review championships hosting policies in order to provide environments that will protect athletes. And now, the general gist of this is Conference USA in their statement trying to the quote is providing non-discriminatory, welcoming, and respectful championship experiences for all of our student athletes is paramount. This is according to the release. Conference USA Board of Directors pledges to conduct a process to review championships hosting policies in order to ensure that they're providing environments that align with the conference's continued mission to support and protect student athletes. Now, honestly, I would hope that the league was doing this before, and I don't know if the statement is to reaffirm or to make note that this is what the league believes, but I would hope that the league was doing this before. And so they released this statement to review championships. And yeah, unless something really comes out, I can't think of anything, at least in connection with Conference USA schools and communities, that would stick out, that would be an issue. But the league, of course, making note of this, putting the statement out, maybe putting members on notice, or at least here are the rules by which we expect everyone to operate under, or this is the standard in which we expect you to follow. And if you didn't know, you know now, one of those statements. But I'm still the mindset that I would think that the conference was already doing this. And if the conference was not, that's the big question. And I don't think there's nothing that I can come up with that would make me think that the conference was it, because let's be quite honest, the majority of student athletes, depending on the sport, are going to be a diverse group. Football is going to be a diverse group. Other sports are going to be diverse groups of student athletes. I would hope you would treat all athletes equal, because after all, without the student athletes, we don't have college athletics. I mean, that's the big takeaway for me. All of this is, without the student athlete, without these young men and women, we don't have this. Now, I could probably go on in my life and my career if I didn't have sports as a component. For me, this is part of my day. I'm not only sports-oriented, sports-focused. But let me tell you right now, this show is more fun when I have those kids and we're talking about what's happening at Marshall, and we're talking about that. I'm benefiting from their presence as much as anything, so definitely want to make sure that they're taken good care of. That's just me. That's my take on the day. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Back on Monday. I'm gonna call my shot now. Ari Agnes better be on the show next week. She's on vacation this week. I want her on next week.
You got it.
Thank you. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.